two both describe sort of win-win situations, but if you look at the national level, there seems to be this competition between economic interest and sustainability. And so I'm just wondering, where's the message changing? Are you outliers in the business world, or is there a message that's just not getting made when you talk about national politics and the message we hear?
I'll take a stab at it.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you look at the oil industry, okay, when they were trying to develop this on a much larger, modernized scale, that required a lot of government money. I don't know if you remember the term, the oil windfall tax. That's how they incentivized the oil producers to go out there and invest in locating underground oil fields and drilling and putting in the equipment and doing all this. Without that investment, it would have never happened, right? So it's not unusual for the government to direct the private sector into a field that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do on their own if it's in the national interest. In the case of energy, we needed energy, and at the time that was our most our largest resource of energy. And technology-wise, we didn't have as many other forms of energy. So I think that if you try to make a business case out of a lot of these things, it doesn't work, right? You have to do it for the bigger picture, which is this is what's best for our country right now, or our state, or even our business, right? You have to have other reasons, I think, to make it balance, oftentimes.
No, I kind of to hook onto that or kind of expound on it, I'll give you a couple examples, neither of which are really McDonald's based. One's sort of, but not really. Going back to my days at Ford Motor Company back in 2000, that was when it was like taboo to say climate change. Like they looked at you and said, I think actually my title, I think in the bio it said Global Manager Sustainability or something like that. My original title was Corporate Citizenship Manager when I started. I had no idea what I was getting into either, because it was like a one-year rotational program. I thought I was a buyer. I had bought, truck parts before, and then I was in fleet marketing, and then I got into this, and I never left. But it was an interesting time, and I do remember a lot of it was, okay, the automakers getting hammered on climate change a lot. There's a lot of UN reports, and frankly, the automakers would throw the beef industry under the table, saying that there's more, so on and so forth, and we can get into that debate. But there was a lot of angst and fighting going on. Now, what was also going on during that time is a lot of states were trying to set their own fuel economy standards for vehicles. That wasn't very popular, because how do you build vehicles that have different fuel economy standards when you're a mass producer, whether you're a European company, American company, Asian company, it doesn't matter. How do you do this, right? And I think what was really neat about it looking back on it, and I can say it now because I've cashed in my pension, I don't have stock in Ford anymore, and I do love Ford, I still drive one, was what happened was there was a partnership between, maybe they didn't call it a partnership at the time, but a collective bringing together of minds and saying, hey, government could play a good role in here in terms of providing a glide path for fuel economy standards for the next 10, 15 years. And then what that did is it evened the playing field, so every automaker knew what it was in terms of what their path forward was. They didn't have to make certain bets, guessing what was going to be the fuel economy standards or what was going to be out there. It was agreed upon glide path. They all knew what to do. They all were going after it. And interestingly enough, you saw a big decrease in shareholder resolutions with automotive companies on climate change, because actually the industry worked with government to kind of create that glide path, and they knew where they were going. Another one in terms of win-win that I'm seeing a lot we're looking into is this renewable space on PPAs, power purchase agreements. You're seeing a lot being done with Walmart, Apple, Google, Microsoft, my Amazon. Those are a lot of very energy intensive footprints because of the servers that they have. These deals have changed so dramatically in the last 10 years. we had a deal in the UK for McDonald's that frankly, I'll just say was not the most positive deal. It was probably, they were out over their skis a little bit on it. But the markets and the products have changed so much that if you find the right one, you can create cash flow and long-term cash flow for your operation or your business. And that's why you're seeing these big investments. And I think you're going to see a huge upswing in this in the next 4 or 5 years. And as I've said, we have owner operators that don't believe in climate change. Trust me. I mean, they're like, no. But hey, if I can deliver renewable energy to your restaurant, you have a great community story to tell, and it delivers you cash flow, sign me up. And really at the end of the day, if I can do it without even saying the word climate change and I got them signed up, all the better. And I think it goes back to that situational piece. It's like you've got constituents, I've got constituents, and it's like figuring out what really appeals to them to find those win-wins.